They told us the solar system was stable, predictable, governed by mathematics that hadn't failed us in centuries. Every planet, every moon, every wobble in every orbit explained. Until it wasn't. For decades, astronomers observed irregularities at the edges of our solar system, small, persistent anomalies in the path of Kuiper belt objects, subtle gravitational tugs that suggested something unseen was out there. A planet, a black hole, a shadow from a previous universe? No one agreed and no one had proof. Until the Jameson Deep Sky Array built in 2041 atop the Andes picked up something different. Not a visual, not heat, but a gravitational lensing event. A brief, sharp warping of light across distant stars. And then another and another, always in the same place. Something massive was bending space itself. And then, in the cold clarity of a March evening, an object revealed itself not by light, but by shadow. A silhouette against background stars. It was a planet, but not like any other. This one, dubbed Kepler X12, was nearly 5 times the mass of Earth, orbiting not on the plane of the ecliptic, but at a steep, unnatural tilt. And worse, it moved retrograde backwards. In every sense of the word, it should not exist. And yet, it was there, cold, silent, watching. NASA, ESA, and multiple private observatories confirmed it within days. Initial theories posited a captured rogue planet, something that had drifted into our system billions of years ago. But its orbit wasn't decaying. It was stable to stable, like it was maintaining itself. Like it knew what it was doing. The first images, captured by infrared sensors, showed a swirling atmosphere of methane and unknown compounds, bands of color arranged in perfect symmetry. But it wasn't the visuals that shocked scientists, it was the data. Every 42 minutes, the planet emitted a low-frequency pulse. Not electromagnetic noise, not solar interference, a clear, mathematically precise signal. Prime numbers, ratios, sequences that repeated across frequencies, across time. And when those signals were plotted visually, they formed something no one expected: shapes, geometries, spirals, and then structures. Not imagined, not speculative, blueprints, towers, rings, perfect three-dimensional schematics encoded in waves of gravity and sound. The world's top cryptographers, linguists, and mathematicians were flown to a hidden research facility in Patagonia to work on what the media dubbed the planet that shouldn't exist, but the public only got fragments. Most of what happened there never reached the world stage because it was terrifying. Not just that the signals were artificial, but that they were evolving, changing, learning, adapting. The signals began including patterns from human language. Ancient alphabets, lost dialects. Some of them hadn't been spoken in over 1,000 years. One linguist reported waking from a dream with a sentence echoing in their mind. We remember the ones who remember. When the probe Alethea was launched toward Kepler X12 in early 2043, the world watched in awe. It was the fastest craft ever built, packed with the most advanced AI humanity had ever created. It reached the planet's orbit within 14 months, and what it found changed everything. The clouds were not just swirling, they were rotating in turbine patterns that resembled engines. Massive engines, weather systems that moved with unnatural precision. When the probe entered the upper atmosphere, it transmitted data showing rapid shifts in pressure and magnetism. Then it sent one final message: this is not a planet, and went dark, gone, no explosion. No debris, just silence. Then came the dreams. Millions of people across the globe began reporting strange visions. Vast structures beneath turning clouds, spiral towers that hummed with energy. A low, resonant tone that vibrated through bone. Some woke with unexplained nosebleeds. Others with spiral-shaped scars on their arms or necks. And in every dream, a phrase returned. We were waiting. Scientists dismissed it as mass hysteria. But the signals from Kepler X12 were getting stronger. And different, emotional, layers of sound that expressed sorrow, loneliness, anticipation. Then, in late 2045, the impossible happened. The planet moved. It adjusted its orbit, slightly, deliberately, as if reacting to us, as if preparing. The shift placed it just behind Neptune, perfectly aligned with Earth for the first time. And then it stopped transmitting, not because it was silent, but because it began broadcasting something else. A deep tone, not a message, a command, and all over the world, things began to fail. GPS systems lost sync, clocks ran backward. Artificial intelligence platforms began spitting out recursive nonsense, code folding in on itself. A Russian weather satellite turned its sensors toward the sun and melted. And across every screen, TVs, phones, computers, an image flashed, a single, turban-shaped cloud rotating in the darkness. No signal, no broadcast, just there, imposed, a memory. In 2046, NASA launched Prometheus, a second probe, this time hardened, shielded, equipped with defensive capabilities. It reached Kepler X-12's outer orbit and then stopped. Not because of a system failure, but because the planet stopped it. The data showed a gravitational anomaly so sharp and specific that it was like an invisible wall. The probe hovered and then the transmission came through. A single sentence, spoken in hundreds of voices layered together. You are early. The probe was recalled, it never returned. Its trajectory never changed, it simply vanished. And the planet began to brighten, slowly, faintly, as if charging. The pulses returned, faster now, urgent, and then came the flash. For exactly 7 seconds, all power across half the globe shut down. From Tokyo to Seattle, from Nairobi to Berlin, nothing worked. Not even batteries, not even analog watches, time stopped. And when it resumed, thousands reported missing time hours unaccounted for, entire days remembered differently, and those who were awake during the blackout saw things, spiral patterns in the sky, shadows in the clouds, machinery turning just beneath the stars, whispers that didn't belong to any living voice. The planet was speaking, not just to us, but into us. And then in early 2047, Kepler X-12 disappeared. Not drifted, not moved, disappeared. It blinked out of existence. Radio telescopes couldn't find it. Infrared arrays saw nothing, it was gone. But 3 smaller objects remained, triangular in shape, rotating, broadcasting, and each pulsed in a different rhythm. 3 voices, 1 message. We left it behind, then Earth began to change. Subtle at first, strange atmospheric pressure fluctuations. Migratory animals refusing to follow usual paths, seismic activity without tectonic cause. And above it all, a low-frequency hum, barely audible constant. Some said it was tinnitus, others said it was the planet still speaking. But it wasn't there anymore, or was it? A French astrophysicist discovered something terrifying. The gravitational signature of Kepler X-12 still existed, as if the planet was still present. But in a different state, not gone, not dead. Just phased, out of sync, like it had folded itself into another dimension. And the hum was the echo. In late 2048, the pulses began targeting individuals. One by one, people seemingly random would begin to speak in languages they'd never learned, draw diagrams they couldn't explain, build machines from scrap that resembled nothing we'd ever invented. They were being used, not possessed, not mind-controlled, aligned. The planet hadn't left, it had seeded itself through us. And as 2049 began, a final message arrived. Not from the sky, from the Mariana Trench. A signal bounced from the deep ocean, modulated through the Earth's crust. It simply said it remembers, and then the water turned warm everywhere. For 7 minutes, the oceans rose by 1.7 degrees globally. Not enough to kill, but enough to prove it was still here, waiting, listening, watching, and maybe remembering something we were never meant to find.